All right, welcome back to the Pontiac videos.
Okay, now I have not been filming this because it's very boring, but I have been running wiring and they've had other chores. So you can see here, we've actually got, and it's moved right now, we found, it's just surface rust where some water sat. So they're going to go ahead and get that cleaned up this afternoon and get some rust treatment on it. But you can see, I've been running wires. We're getting pretty close here. And the rear body harness is actually built. Oh boy, this is inconvenient on the tripod. So down in here in the hole, I've actually got the wiring for the camera. Here's the rear body harness coming back. And then the factory harness was actually in really good shape. So I had pulled it, I re-terminated it into a 3-pin and a 2-pin connector. Those are going to terminate on here. Up here we cut an access hole, and then underneath I'll show you at another point where it comes back through. This is for the fuel pump. So all the wiring is starting to get to the back. We painted up and mounted the camera, so that looks really nice. No one will even know it doesn't belong because you're not looking for stuff like that. So I'm almost on rear body harness. Up in here, the thing, well, two things have been really taking our time for the last few weeks, and we didn't bother filming any of this. One, we're going to a floor shift. So figuring out how that was originally mounted and getting all that taken care of. But two, we're going to take this set of 68 Impala buckets, and we have been looking and measuring and mounting and playing with seat tracks, trying to get a combination that's going to be worth modifying. Obviously, the original tracks for an Impala don't come even close to fitting a 66 floor pan. Now, all the plastic in the back and everything on these are available, and he can get this fabric. So these will be recovered to match the rear fabric. But we've been playing with, using bolts and stuff just to kind of figure out what our height needs to be comfortable. And one of the very first things we figured is tilt column is going to be necessary if Pixie's going to drive this car. So we have pulled the column back out and actually literally just sat with the I Did It video and went through that, did all the measurements for the column. So here is our column shift non-tilt column, which will probably be for sale soon because they are hard to come by and we don't need it. So we got that all sorted. Well, okay, here's wiring on the Henry. Another thing I haven't been filming, but I've been working on. The wiring harness for this car is actually installed. I don't remember if I showed that in a video or not. Let me drop you guys back down. There we go. Hopefully nobody got sick. The camera's on a tripod, which is not normal for me, but you can see she's mounted in there. And we're just kind of getting everything run. It's been a little here, a little there. We keep running into little problems that turn into big problems. A simple thing like a steering column. You wouldn't think that would be 2 weeks of work, but it is. Oh, beer. Beer is important to this kind of work. You can see he's working through here. Now, one of the things we noticed when I was putting in the rear body wiring, one of the things I noticed pretty early on is over the years, people took like needle nose pliers or screwdrivers and pulled on these, because what happens is these gasket surfaces really stick. I mean, it's unbelievable how strong and powerful those actually are after they've been in the sun for 30 years. And the way you actually get them out is you take a larger shoulder bolt and you just lightly thread it in here and then pop it. And then they pop right off. I've never had a problem with that. However, in the past, somebody cracked all over it. You can see everywhere they tried to yank it without pliers, it's got cracks. So he's trying to find a nice set.
There's a pair of NOS ones on eBay right now.
Look at that. There's some new old stock ones that'll fit right now. So, okay. So he's working on that. And there's a promo for eBay Motors.
Yay.
And right now, Pixie's doing some cleanup back here. In fact, it looks like she just went and got some nice soapy water. Oh, I keep forgetting I'm on a tripod. But you can see all this you don't normally have any access to. But one, for the wiring, but two, just to get access to where I had to add another grommet and everything. It just made it a lot nicer. Because the camera, obviously it didn't fit through the existing grommet. We had to drill a hole behind the bumper into the well back here, which wasn't very fun. But you can see back there how nicely that's coming in. Well, maybe you can. And unfortunately, I did wind up having to do that. It's not my favorite. I really wanted to run it between that sheet metal there. And there's another folded piece of sheet metal in there. And you can't. I did everything I could to make that happen, to make it really fancy, to run through there, and I just couldn't do it without heavily modifying that section of the car. So I welded all that back up and put some primer on it and some Dynamat. And then under here, I still have to make the changes for controlling the classic auto air. But outside of that, the dash is pretty good. We're real happy with the dash right now. And mostly I'm rambling right now because I haven't been shooting a video for the last few weeks, and I keep meaning to. But, you know, I know that running wires is boring. You know, going through, you can see I've got an awful lot of notes of what I'm doing and where I'm doing it. I'm pretty sure I already did a video showing the method I like to use for mapping things. And even here on the Henry, which is a considerably simpler car, I've got, oh God, probably 6 hours just in getting this to lay down flat and rerouting and pulling wires and rerouting. And you can see I'm trying to get all the wires to naturally sit below this point. You know, I don't want anything under stress in either of these cars. So that's what we've been doing. I will try to remember to film a little bit more in a little bit. So at this point, thanks for keeping with us and paying attention to what we're doing. But we had a wedding. It kind of slowed some things down. And just waiting on parts. We've got several sets of seat tracks on order. And we're trying to figure out what's going to be the ones to modify to make this happen. So there's no point in sending these off to be reupholstered until we actually know how they're being mounted. Once we know exactly where those are mounted, then we can play the game getting this mounted correctly. Conveniently, we already own a center console, so that's actually going to work out really, really nicely. I kept looking at the time. Just a little wire brushing in a vacuum, and look at the difference already. Okay, a little bit of rust converter. Help slow things down a little bit. And rosin paper, you can get it at any improvement store. It's cheap, it's great, you can work around an awful lot of chemicals with it. And we all know the joys of putting Dynamat in. But it will make things cooler and quieter. Okay, rust converter's almost cured. He's getting ready to Dynamat in there. You can see he's got it nice bit of detuning in here. That'll quiet down the noise, especially with the subwoofer under there. And now that I've got a light, you can see where I added that other grommet down there. And that's where the video comes in. Which, oh, I think came out looking pretty nice. So, yeah, this is really starting to look pretty good. I think this is going to make a giant difference in the back. It seems silly, but with that subwoofer, everything back there is going to want to rattle. So I know he's getting ready to Dynamat up here. We're keeping the factory stuff everywhere that it's still down solid and in good shape. But right in here, yeah, we're going to just do some Dynamat. And just like that, it is quite a bit later than it was. So, they took care of that for me. And you can see I've still got some wires to play with there. They now know what they're going to do about this paint here. These may still eventually wind up being carpet, especially back there for the dog. But you got quite a bit of Dynamat done. Can't complain there. We did the measurement on the steering column. That was a biggie. That actually took a lot longer than we expected it to, but you don't want to order that twice. They're not free when they're custom. So all of that's been coming along. I've still been working on the Henry a little bit while he's been hiding in there. They're going to order some new lenses. These, you know I mentioned it a few minutes ago, but that was hours ago for us. You know, these are a little chipped up, and if you can get them, better change them now while you still can. So I know he ordered a set of NOS, so not even aftermarket garbage. Because you want to talk about a thing that it doesn't pay to buy aftermarket is lenses.
They don't make aftermarket lenses.
No, but no aftermarket lenses are any good. Like I said, I've been working on the Henry, and I think I finally have this down flat. So, you know, started working on courtesy harness, you know, while I can still reach it. So at this point, I think this ties up about 3 weeks worth of work on the Pontiac. I know it doesn't look like much. That's why I haven't bothered filming it. Digging through wires and putting things together. It's not interesting. So, at this point, thanks for watching.